Due to Christopher's complex family dynamic, one character and his importance is easily overlooked: Toby, Christopher's pet rat. To get a better understanding as to why Toby even matters at all to Christopher and his transition throughout the story, we first need to look at the broader topic of how having a pet can affect people with autism. Pets can provide them with companionship that isn't judgmental nor as confusing as being around other people can be for them. It's a simple connection, but one that gives those with autism security and routine. Having a pet like a dog, for example, can also help autistic people improve their social skills as they can interact with others through the shared interest and responsibility of being a pet owner. Christopher's fondness for dogs allows him to speak with Miss Alexander for the first time, because she likes dogs, and in his book that probably makes her a good person. Given Christopher's soft spot for dogs and the multiple mentions of him liking dogs and why they're better than people, why was Toby chosen as Christopher's pet instead? For practical reasons, it makes sense as to why his parents would start him off with a smaller pet as opposed to a cat or a dog. But Toby, as a rat, shares something in common with Christopher: the negative misconceptions surrounding them. Rats are viewed as dirty and disease-ridden, but Christopher points out that rats are actually quite clean and that Toby is always washing himself. Christopher's classmate Terry calls him a spazzer and taunts him by saying that Christopher, due to his autism, will never be able to live his dream of becoming an astronaut, and instead he will be stuck working low-end jobs. We, as the readers, know that Christopher is highly intelligent and capable of achieving great success, because we're reading from his perspective that shows us the bad and the good side of his condition. But the characters around him don't have that insight, so the negatives of having autism are emphasized while the quieter advantages are overlooked. While Toby can't feel anything towards the negative image surrounding him, the fact that it exists provides Christopher with another being who he can relate to in a way that he wouldn't be able to do with a dog, as they are seen as lovable and happy creatures. And while Toby isn't as high maintenance as a dog, the care that Christopher provides for him is part of his routine and an example of Christopher's ingrained order. The daily routine is perfect when nothing unexpected happens for it to go as planned and have no complications. But as Christopher's life becomes more chaotic, that routine and his comfort zone are violated in different ways, from Christopher talking to strangers to running away. Toby going missing at the train station represents what Christopher's normal is, being gone, and his desperate attempts to regain some semblance of it by seeking out his mother almost gets him killed when the train nearly runs him over, because he was too zeroed in on one thing that caused him to make impulsive decisions rather than seeing the bigger picture and making smarter choices. The dangers of what sticking so closely to order and the inability to cope with sudden change isn't the only thing represented by Toby and Christopher running away, as the negative side of what independence for Christopher can be is also shown. When Christopher lets Toby out of his cage to take him to the train station, it symbolizes Christopher breaking free from his father and seeking out his own independence, which he's been building up towards throughout the story. The unpleasant situations that follow that eventually escalate to him nearly getting killed by the train shows that Christopher isn't yet truly ready to be completely independent. After his mother and him return to the house, he sets Toby back into the cage, and in a way he's not only letting his father have a say in his life again, but he is also putting aside his newfound independence because it's what will be most beneficial for him. But that isn't to say that Christopher's life is just going to go back to normal, as Toby dies as things start to calm down for Christopher. His death is essentially the full death of Christopher's old reality, as his family dynamic has completely changed, and it makes room for Sandy, who represents the new beginnings and new reality with his parents.